He said, I hope we have something to talk about.
Well, the fact is the world's gotten kind of calm, so I was hoping, I looked out the window of the hotel this morning thinking the weather might help us. Nope, boring as can be.
It's beautiful, birds chirping, while who knows what lies on the horizon. I did not watch the Super Bowl, but I got a ton of messages from people that watched it. They're like, what the fuck is going on? Like, the Super Bowl was a gigantic propaganda campaign, and there's Pfizer ads and weird woke commercials, and
it was bizarre. I did watch it. I had nothing else to do, and I probably wouldn't have watched it otherwise. But I did watch it, and it was like some running inside joke. You had to know who these people were in order to even just be with the flow. I mean, obviously the game is what it is, but all of the stuff surrounding it was like you're either embedded in this culture or it's kind of a head scratcher.
I did not see any of it, so I wasn't watching the Super Bowl last night. I was busy, so I don't know what happened.
Well, let's put it this way. I'm not a football aficionado by any stretch, but it was a pretty exciting game. I mean, it came down to the last seconds of overtime, and, it was a hell of a comeback. So
there are a ton of conspiracies about the way it was officiated and that the fix was in, with Travis Kelce being sponsored by Pfizer and Taylor Swift, and Taylor Swift's music catalog being owned by some mega corporation that has shady ties.
Well, I have to say, I was watching it, and I didn't have a dog in the fight. I wasn't really rooting for either team. I was just trying to get the sense of, what the game was like. But I did find myself in the end rooting against Taylor Swift.
This is the Biden thing that they posted.
After his bedtime.
Just like we drew it up, and it's Biden with these, red robot eyes. Why would they do that? Why would they make that? Like that, just that alone. Like, what are you saying? Like, what are you doing? Like, imagine that's the president of the United States. I want you to imagine Ronald Reagan, if social media was alive, posting a photograph like that, or Bill Clinton.
Well, I mean, I do know what they're doing, right? They have a very weak meme game, but they do have moments when they show some kind of spark in this regard, and I detest it. I think they have an obligation to be above this stuff and to not troll. But in a world where Trump is a political force, they're trying to build a game in the same arena, and they're going to get crushed. But that's why they did it, and obviously it's the machine that did it.
It's kind of amazing that the left can't meme. Because they're really bad at it. Because they're denying so many truths. Like, in order to adhere to the ideology, you have to be so rigid in what you accept as truth. And there's so many things that just don't jive with that you can't really meme well when you're doing that. Like, what memes are is pointing things out and exaggerating them in a way where people kind of know that this is the case, and then you make a preposterous image and everybody laughs. But the left can't really do that because a lot of those memes are very offensive and funny. Well,
I think it's actually a window into not really the left. I mean, as you know, I feel myself of the left, but I don't relate to these people at all.
Nor do I. Something weird happened, and we got kicked out.
Yeah, it got taken over by something diabolical.
Yeah.
And, what you're pointing to, it's the same thing. It has no sense of humor, right?
Right.
They laugh, but they have no sense of humor. They have no ability to juxtapose things so that you suddenly see something in the way something, a funny joke works. They can't meme because they're not really, this is some corrupt cabal behind the scenes that arranges a set of, policies that aren't coherent together because they're about something that's never been discussed with us. And so it's not a natural for, you can't really build a culture around it because it's incoherent to begin with. So
right.
They're bad at humor. Memes is a special kind of humor that has, arisen online. And the rules of it, actually I wanted to talk to you about this. The rules of it are different from normal humor. I was trying to phrase something on Twitter today to make it funny, and I was realizing the difference between a tweet and, what I've seen you do in your club, right? Where in your club, you can actually structure a joke that isn't funny until 4 lines in,
right?
Because your audience isn't going anywhere.
Right.
On Twitter, you need to keep them on board with the tweet so they don't scroll to the next one, right? So there has to be some juice in the beginning in order to get to the punchline. But anyway, I'd be curious what you think about what the different rules are for humor in the different contexts. But even just the structural differences is profound online.
Well, one of the best examples of how the tide has changed is the Babylon Bee out-onions the Onion. The Onion is essentially dormant.
Mm-hmm.
The Onion was like the dominant force of satire forever. And they were so good. And then something happened where there's like places they can't go. It's like a runner being limited to like a certain amount of miles per hour when that the speed that you're limited to cannot compete with the best runners.
I think it's actually a manifestation of a larger pattern that you can see very clearly when it's about humor and satire, and you don't see it as clearly elsewhere. But when The Onion was funny, it was a political force. And so it had to be targeted by things that it would have opposed, right? By things that it would have mocked and revealed. And so the fact that it's been neutered makes perfect sense if you imagine whoever it is that was galled by being revealed by The Onion. It doesn't make sense if you imagine that The Onion is in some competitive environment where it's trying to win market share by being hilarious, right? Why would you take a hot property like The Onion and ruin it? Well, the question is, are you trying to accomplish something political by getting rid of a powerful force, a force of ridicule, or are you trying to compete economically? And we see this in lots of places. Why would social media platforms embrace censorship, right? Everybody wants to be in a social media environment that's lively. It doesn't want one that's heavily constrained. And
right.
Yet these would-be competitors are behaving, they're colluding effectively to shut out messages that lots of people want to hear.
Do you think that that's because they're worried about government intervention and some sort of repercussions for not adhering to whatever guidelines the government wants you to do? I mean, this clearly seems to be the case when you look at like the Twitter files. The Twitter files, which has gotten almost no press.
Hey, woman, since your man ain't got no heart, what you going to our apartment tonight? I'll show you a real man.
There you go.
What? Fuck you. Hey, woman, since your man ain't got no heart, what you going to our apartment tonight? I'll show you a real man.
There you go.
What? Fuck you.